How much faith do you have in Paul George to execute a gangster sweep?
This is a grown man sweep. You want gangster sweep. You wanted to go 7, but it ain't going to happen. This is grown man time. How much faith do I have? As much faith as I have in my wife, Anna Marie. See, I'm going to box you in because you can't come out of that. What joke you got coming back my way? Now, that's a lot more faith than she has in me. And probably that's your take. But here's the thing. I'm looking at, let me say it like me and my daughter say it, playoff P to shut y'all up. And he's shutting his critics and naysayers up so much, one of them couldn't even show up to work yesterday. And I'm looking at him, Emmanuel Acho, where were you, bro? Apologies accepted, because I told you about this team. 4-2-4-2. What we do is let you get 2. We spot you 2. No, go ahead and have that, homie. And then go ahead and have that, homie. And then all of a sudden, wop, 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 wop. And we snatch these cats. We did it to Dallas. We're doing it to Utah tonight. And we are not fully activated, but you know what is? Staples Center. And last time I checked, Staples Center rocks the loudest, the liveliest when the Clippers are in town. Now, people go to Laker games like you, and you say, I saw Rudy Gobert on the street. You know, y'all go up in there and y'all wear your fancy watches, stay on your phones, and act like you somewhere. You go to a Clipper game, we will rock, yeah. And that's what we're going to do, because playoff P, 14-9 without Kawhi Leonard in the last couple of years, including 7-5 this season. Why do I bring that up? Because people act like it's an anomaly, like, without Kawhi, they can't win. Well, we actually have a great winning percentage without Kawhi, as long as playoff P is in the building. And also a compromised Utah team. I ain't going to lie. I know that Donovan Mitchell is trying to push through this and plow through this for the game time decision. I know Mike Conley going to try and play tonight. I know all these things going to happen, chips all in. But the problem is, when you try to put those chips in, you're going to realize you're in Clip City, Chip City, and it's a problem.
I like that take strong. You prepped all day for that. That one take. I have 33% confidence in Paul George.
What stat you got with that?
I have no stats.
Yes, you do. You always pick this.
I got 33% confidence, and here's why, Sal. What we haven't realized, and it's unfortunate, is the Clippers are playing with a big 3. And they have every game this series.
Compliments.
Because Marcus Morris, he gave you, 24 points? Your boy Reggie Jackson gave you mid-20 points again.
Such a beast.
Then the game before that, Marcus Morris hit you with the 20s again. Game before that, Reggie Jackson hit you with 29 points. The Clippers are playing with a big 3. So Paul George, I don't necessarily have confidence that he will close it out, but I do have confidence that the Clippers will close it out. We just have to figure out who we're going to give all the credit to. I think the Clippers are going to close it out because they are playing with literal pieces balling right now. We slept on Marcus Morris, just like we slept on Jeff Green when he had 27 points, 1 7 for 8 from 3, because Kevin Durant gave you 47, 17, and 10. So we forgot any other player existed. Paul George has played marvelously. But it's not really Paul George necessarily in isolation that's getting the job done. It's the fact that he's getting 50 points from his next 2 best players. On average in the series, he's getting 33 points from the combination of Reggie Jackson plus Marcus Morris. Now, the truth or the thesis statement of my take is I have more faith that the Jazz will give it up than I have that the Clippers will close it out. You talked about this 2 days ago on the show. More games are lost than are won. At least that's the quote from Bill Belichick in regards to NFL football. I think that also applies to NBA playoff basketball. I think the Jazz will lose this game. Donovan Mitchell, as you said, is hurt. Yeah. And more than he's hurt, he is falling each and every game, statistically speaking. You got the full screen. He goes from shooting 53% to 51% to 45% to 34% to 31%. He goes from his plus or minuses to being way high to all of a sudden drastically dipping worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So I'm not putting my faith in PG closing it out as much as I am putting my faith in the Utah Jazz faltering. We didn't believe in the Jazz in the first place. We just all assumed it was going to be the Lakers that were going to dismantle the Jazz. Remember, over the course of the season, when the Jazz were the 1 seed, those Lakers fans and most NBA analysts who assumed the Lakers healthy would go all the way were like, okay, Lakers are going to have to beat the Clippers at best because the Jazz, they don't have any experience. Their best player, Donovan Mitchell, he's only 25, 24 years of age. So the Jazz are still probably a couple years away. So we knew we had doubts about the Jazz. We just foresaw a different LA team being the contender. Now that it's the Clippers, doesn't change my feelings about the Jazz whatsoever.
It doesn't change your feelings whatsoever. Ooh, I don't know if this is the same Acho I knew 2 days ago, because that Acho was telling me how great Donovan Mitchell is as a scorer. Donovan Mitchell. Oh, 30 plus. You know he's minus 22 for this series? And sixth man of the year, Jordan Clarkson, with his tucked-in braids in his headband, he's minus 45 through Game 5. I wonder why that happened, because you kept telling me how good they were until they faced these Clippers. You know why? Because you don't get enough respect to not only what our names are, even without Kawhi, but our game in terms of playing both sides of the ball. Let's talk about this, because you showed a full screen where Donovan Mitchell and his plus-minus continues to erode, correct? Damn, is anybody else we faced and they continue to erode, especially in fourth quarters, by the name of, I don't know, Luka Doncic? We do this to people, bruh. We make them bleed slow, and then you just sit there and they just evaporate on the damn court. We are a machine right now, and I'm not even hyping up these Clippers. They just so deep. I've always said that. We have a dynamite duo. Now it's just a single, but we got a collection of players. We're the deepest team with the best cherries on top. And now you're starting to see that. How do you see it also? Let me give you this one. PG, come on, man. One of 3 players that average 29, 9, and 4 right now in the second round. Durant and Embiid. Ballers. Okay, let's talk about PG. First player in Clippers history to score 20 points or more in 12 consecutive playoff games. He scored 20 or more in every single playoff game. Everybody can't say that. PG in his last 3 games, let's talk about it. 33, 9, and 5. Playoff, why is that still a thing with ridicule? This dude is an absolute baller.
I'm about to hijack this segment, and it's going to run you hot. But as you were talking, Sel, I realized this.
What, I spit on you?
No. Oh. Maybe that. But in the same manner that the bubble positively affected and impacted the Lakers, this condensed season has positively affected and impacted your Clippers. And I don't think there's a denying in this.
Is this
I haven't heard this take yet. I'm coming up with it on the spot.
I can tell. You ain't even thought about it.
No.
I'm about to throw this table up on you, bro. Don't do this.
The majority of athletes, including LeBron James, plus NBA analysts have also said, and I think yourself, have all admitted this. This playoffs isn't as much about talent as it is a war of attrition.
Okay, that's facts.
It's a war of attrition.
Okay, I'm with you. So
Luka, he battled injuries. Chris Paul, he battled injuries. LeBron James, he battled injuries. Anthony Davis, battled injuries. Joel Embiid, battled injuries. Kawhi Leonard, battled injuries. Spidey Mitchell, battled injuries. Everybody, James Harden, battled injuries. Kyrie Irving, battled injuries. Everybody, all the star players battling injuries. So who does that benefit? This playoffs, it's a war of attrition. It behooves the deepest team. So
is that a
not a slight?
I was about to say, is that a negative?
It's not a slight at all. But it's an awareness, right? It's an awareness. Remember the Lakers, Anthony Davis, man, he can't get right. So the bubble, giving him 4.5 months off, it allowed us to be convinced that the Lakers were the best team when in fact they weren't. They were playing in a very unique circumstance.
Okay.
This shortened, condensed season is a very unique circumstance.
This one as well?
This one we're playing in right here, right now. It's a very unique circumstance. You talked about it yesterday with Armstrong and with Slick Rick.
Yeah.
LeBron James come out here and say, I tried to tell y'all shortened season. I know you may not have necessarily agreed with his logic.
He didn't agree with it. It was wrong.
But
he's talking about a 0.3% bump in a corona year.
Statistically speaking, there is still a bump. Statistically speaking, we know the season was condensed. And as a result, the Clippers are a beneficiary of a war of attrition. It's not necessarily the most talented teams, it's the deepest teams. So congratulations to y'all for being a deeper team than the Utah Jazz. I just wanted to make you aware as to why y'all are doing what y'all are doing, so you don't believe the lie that a lot of Lakers fans believed about Anthony Davis.
Well, you're not going to take away my ring we don't have yet and try to make it a Mickey Mouse ring like the one you do have. We're not going to go into the bubble rings, but that was an asterisk season. You could call this one an asterisk season, but you got to give me some evidence. And right now, I don't know where you were yesterday, but it sounded like you were with LeBron.
I watched.
You were with LeBron watching, and LeBron said, hey, man, I need some help on this one because all I'm talking about is a 0.3% bump. And LeBron tried to stand on this. One, this season, if any season, guys should have been in better shape. I'll give it to you why.
Please.
Last year, they played up until March 11th.
Yes, sir.
Then they had 5 months off to come back for 6 weeks. And then they had another couple months off, right?
Uh-huh.
Add that up. Is that more of an off season than normal?
I got something for you. I got
You
something
better
for you.
have something for me because you got to take it back to
I heard
LeBron.
this. I heard this.
Oh, you ain't hear it from me?
No, I heard this. Who did I don't know. I was watching this show.
And then LeBron signs on to a season that's 10 games shorter. And then now that he's out, he wants to say he's hurt. You know what's funny about it?
What?
Every single year, somebody or many are hurt. Where's Steph been of late? Where's Clay been of late? Here's another thing. Talent ain't the reason why teams win championships. Not exclusively.
Talent and chemistry.
Oh, hold on. And depth. That's the point. So hold on. Now you want to reprioritize what's important based on the season.
No, sir.
But hold on. The most talented teams don't always win the championship. If that's the case, why did Miami Heat with the big three ever lose one?
I said talent and chemistry.
And depth?
No. Talent.
Oh, depth
the
doesn't
Mavericks
matter?
won because Jason Terry, Jason Kidd, Dirk Nowitzki, and you can say Tyson Chandler. You want to talk about the Heat team that won?
Why did Spurs win?
Talent and chemistry. 3 Hall of Fame players, 4 Hall of Fame players, Hall of Fame coach.
And hold on. If your numbers keep adding up, that means depth.
No, talent. Hall of Fame players are just
If your numbers,
Hall of Fame.
hold on. You try to say Cash didn't come off the bench?
I'm saying, why did the Spurs win? Because Manu, because Tony
They didn't have the most talented people if you drafted. You didn't have the most talented. Everybody was on that hill at the top or under it. Kawhi going up, or they coming down that hill.
Talent and chemistry. The Lakers.
I love how you trying to win last year. You trying to rename draw fours. It's okay. It's a new card in Nuno. It's that blank one. That's what you're playing with right now.
You telling me that the Miami Heat, that the Golden State Warriors, that the Lakers last year won because of depth?
Hold on. Last year they won because they got a break. They had to run a 400 and ran 300 and had 5 months off.
Correct.
The last 100. That's not the same situation. But if you talk about teams, what you need to construct a team, it's not talent and talent alone. It's not. You say depth. It's not depth and depth alone. You got to have an ingredient of all those. But now you're gonna point out something that we did correctly in team building and make it a slight.
I'm not making it a slight.
What
I'm saying is typically depth is not 80% of the factor in which you win a championship. But what we're seeing right now, and obviously 80 is an arbitrary number, but typically depth does not weigh as heavily into winning a championship as it ever has.
We're missing Kawhi. We're missing Serge Ibaka. And you over here trying to tell me that we benefiting from something? Dog, we would be laughing at these kids out there if we didn't have...
Your hat Kawhi was down 0-2, sir.
Yeah, but guess what? That's what we do. We sign that up. Kawhi,
let me ask you this, because I heard this. Now, I'm interested in your take.
Okay.
You've always said that it's easier to run 300, stop, and run a 100. But let's put this in terms that everybody can understand.
Okay.
I would rather run 5 miles, rest, run another 5 miles, than have to run 10 miles straight.
Who wouldn't?
Great. So last year's bubble was 5 miles, rest, another 5, or you can call it 2 miles. This year's season...
You can't call 6 weeks anything.
This year's season, though, Stel, has been just running it all straight. So I don't know, because it wasn't you. It was another analyst who I heard tried to make the equivalent of, well, this season is actually easier than last season because you had 4.5 months off, then you played 2 weeks. I'm like, bruh. Just because you had a break and had to go back, that's actually easier than having to do the whole thing straight.
I thought it was bad when LeBron said that we can't see our best players play, but still I see CP3 out there. I still see Devin Booker out there. I still see Paul George out there. Like, there's a lot. Kevin Durant. But it's funny. LeBron can't let it go that he got an off season for real this time because he ain't deep. And now you can't let it go by trying to put You try to put some loss on the fact that my team may win it.
But LeBron is not incorrect in saying you can't see the best players play. First team All-NBAs last year. Anthony Davis. LeBron James. James Harden wasn't far behind. Like, those are the best players.
Yeah, and they also got beat. They got beat. LeBron wasn't hurt. He may have been playing like he hurt, and he don't want to sit there on the bench when they getting killed, but he ain't hurt. He got knocked out. Luka wasn't hurt. He got knocked out. Keep talking first team NBA. Anybody?